Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back for the second recording of today. Chicago Bears 7-round mock draft. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. They pick at number 20th. They signed Andy Dalton to be their starter this year, which was really interesting. I didn't really like it, but you know what? They did what they did. I mean, you just got to accept it. Quarterback isn't an option in round one as Mac Jones is gone. Who would the Bears take if I'm them? Alright, for me, this first pick could go one of three ways. You could either take a safety, which like I said, I've said many times, I don't like safety in the first round that much. Just because I think you can get safeties later in the draft, and not often do you find a Derwin James or someone of that caliber, even though Derwin James is hurt a lot, but you don't find someone of that caliber in the first round. You could take corner. I mean, you lost Kyle Fuller, or you cut Kyle Fuller. That means you got to be thinking corner at least at some point in the draft. Asante Samuel Jr., Caleb Farley, Eric Stokes, Kelvin Joseph, all good guys. But then the other option is tackle or interior O-line. If you look at the Bears O-line, the left side and middle is actually pretty good when healthy. You got Charles Leno at left tackle. You got James Daniels, who's like 22, young potential at left guard, who's played pretty well so far in his career. And then you got Cody Whitehair at center, who's about 30, but you signed a long-term deal. You got your guy there. Bears offense was terrible last year because they were injured mostly. So you don't need a left tackle, left guard, center as far as I'm concerned. Which means you need a right guard or right tackle. You got Bobby Massey, and I don't know who your right guard is. I couldn't think of one if I tried. So you could go interior O-line, like a guy like Landon Dickerson, who is very versatile. You can play center if you want to get rid of Cody Whitehair eventually. He can play guard right out of day one as your right guard. And he could play tackle if you have to. It's like kind of wherever he fits. If someone outperforms someone, then you can get him to wherever he wants on the line. I think that's a good first-round pick. But then you also look at a guy like Sam Cosmi, who is more of a left tackle, but he has played right tackle. And for a guy like Andy Dalton, you need some protection. Give him some time to go through his progressions because he's going to be smart with his progressions. He's not going to force the ball. So like a guy like Leon Eichenberg, not on my board. Rodden's not on my board. It's pretty much between Cosmi and Dickerson. And the reason I think I'm going to go Dickerson is just versatility. I think Cosmi could be a better right tackle than Dickerson can be a right tackle. But I like that Dickerson has flexibility throughout the years. If you want to move on from Cody Whitehair, if you want to move on from Charles Leno, if you want to move on from Bobby Massey, which you should, you can take him and put him anywhere across that line and he will produce at a decent or better level. So I think versatility is a hard thing to find in the NFL. A lot of times you find guys who are just locked to one position. And as much as you do need a receiver, I know Bears fans are probably screaming at me to take a receiver. I think you can get a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown in round 2 who isn't as good as Rashad Bateman, but will be a similar value. And you can do the same thing with Quinn Miners or Josh Myers or Trey Smith. But I really like Landon Dickerson. I think the versatility is a hard thing to come by in the NFL. It's a great thing to get. If you can get it, you can't pass it up. All right, at pick 52, if a guy like Asante Samuel Jr. was still here, I definitely would consider corner. I'm considering Jamar Johnson because you got Eddie Jackson, but you need a strong safety as well. But I think I'm going to hedge my luck on Hamza Nasirildeen being there at 83, I think the Bears pick at. And we're going to go with wide receiver here. And now it's just a matter of who. I hope you couldn't hear that. If you could, my bad. So you got Tylan Wallace, who was great, but he got injured last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, great. Like, Dwayne Eskridge, good in the slot. You have Darnell Mooney. If you believe Darnell Mooney's your slot guy, don't worry about Eskridge. So we'll cross Eskridge off for now. Nico Collins, good big receiver. Diami Brown. Like, you got 4 good options here at this pick, and I don't know which one I want. You got Allen Robinson, you got Darnell Mooney. Who else do you have? Anthony Miller. I think you can get a guy better than Anthony Miller, and if you trade Allen Robinson, you still need another receiver. Between the four I'm leaning towards eliminating Amon-Ra St. Brown. Actually, Tylan Wallace does worry me because he's coming off an ACL, I believe, injury. And you never know how a player recovers from that. So actually, I'm going to take Tylan Wallace off first. I like him, but I'm just not sure he's the safest pick. And I'm going to be between Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, and Dyami Brown. And just based off the fact, as of now, you have Allen Robinson. You don't need another 6'3 guy. I'm going to remove Nico Collins. I don't know if that's smart. I like him. But I'm between Dyami Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, Dyami Brown's obviously ranked higher, but that doesn't matter to me. This is tough. I really think Amon-Ra St. Brown will be a good fit in the Bears offense. But I think Dyami Brown's just better. This is tough for me, man. You could also take Jalen Mayfield and get another O-lineman. But I think here the pick's going to be Dyami Brown. Ugh, I couldn't decide. Dyami Brown can play inside, outside, to play a multitude of roles. He's got good size. He ran, I believe, a 4.4, somewhere around 4.4, 40. And now we just hope that Hamson and Sheraldine's there. Amon-Ra St. Brown's still here. We could double up. As far as tackle goes, we're good there for now. But Hamson and Sheraldine's here. That's what we banked on. And I think he's going to be a great, strong safety for the Bears. He seems like the classic Chicago Bears safety, just physical. And I think Deion Bush is their safety now, but I don't think that's your solution. In round 3, Nasirildeen, perfect safety in the box. You have Eddie Jackson, who's a ball hawk over the top. Get Hamson and Nasirildeen to kind of clean up the trash in the middle. I think Hamson and Nasirildeen's a great pick there, and you also rob him from the Eagles, but not that I believe we don't pick till 150 or something now, so I'll see you guys when we're there. All right, with this pick, we are going to go corner. Ooh, Jamie Newman is interesting because he's a guy with potential that just didn't play last year, so you don't know what you're getting. In round 5, yeah, I like Shakira Brown and Gary Vincent. I'd probably be between those two for a nickel corner. You do need a nickel corner pretty bad, but Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, you're not looking at the future at quarterback. You only have 2 quarterbacks. I'm assuming they definitely plan to draft one. I don't know what round. I'm going to take Jamie Newman. I like his potential. I think Bears fans have something to be excited about. If they get him in round 5 especially, he didn't play in 2020. He transferred to Georgia, so obviously Georgia saw something in him, but he didn't play because of COVID reasons. And at Wake Forest, when he was with Sage Surratt, he looked pretty good. There were some issues in his game, and Shakira Brown went the pick before me. I didn't even think he was going to be there at this. That actually makes me mad. Well, at this point, we're just going to go best corner available. I would have preferred Shakira Brown at 204. That would have been great value for me. I'm going to go with Rashad Wild Goose Jr. Just the best nickel corner available in my eyes. Lenore is up there too, but Wild Goose Jr., great name by the way, but the best nickel corner available coverage-wise, and you get your guy for the Bears. Now, I really don't know where else to go. Probably edge rusher because Robert Quinn's getting up there in age. Khalil Mack's not getting younger. You could use some depth behind them. So, it's between Kunse and Patrick Johnson. I still don't know how to say this guy's name. Kunse, one of those is right probably. Patrick Johnson and Malcolm Kunse, I'm going to say. I think you could use edge depth. You could use interior D-line, but I don't like any of the value there. Patrick Johnson, Tulane, or Malcolm Kunse. We pick again at 21, or 221, so we could technically get both if we really wanted to. Yeah, just looking at the Bears depth chart, they really don't got much linebacker depth at all, even in the middle. So I'm going to take Patrick Johnson. I think he's slightly better than Kinsey. Slightly, though. They both are 3-4 outside linebackers with potential. I guess you could go Kunse for the storyline because he's from the same school as Khalil Mack, but not going to do that. Now here you probably should take interior D-line just because you don't really have much depth there, but you also need linebacker depth and tight end depth. So guys like KJ Britt, not really a scheme fit. Grant Stewart's undersized. Like, at this point, you're getting picky. Not a scheme fit. Like, Patty Fisher's an interesting one. He is. Just because he's got size. I don't know what downs you play him on, because Trevathan and Roquan Smith are both every down linebackers as far as I know. And you just don't got much depth there. Who's available at O-tackle? Alaric Jackson. For me, it's between either doubling up on edge, Carlo Kemp, or maybe Mustafa Johnson. You know what? I'm going to take Patty Fisher just because he's a pure run stuffer, and I feel like that's something the Bears like. It sounds like the type of linebacker the Bears always get is a run stuffing stud. Stewart's not that. He's under 6 foot tall, just not the greatest size. And you know what? I'm gonna take Lenore. He at 228. He's still here, and I know I was between him and Wild Goose earlier. And the reason I'm gonna take him is because the depth isn't much. You got Artie Burns. You got Tease Tabor, Kendall Vindor. I think is his name, Kendall Vidor or something like that. One of those guys can easily get cut. Tease Tabor never lived up to his second round hype. I did like him out of college, but just take a corner, get some value there. You don't have much at that position, depth-wise. And obviously, I didn't end up drafting a tackle, but I think you still have Bobby Massey for another year. You could get a tackle next year. Or whoever you play at right guard could be better than Massey would at right tackle, and then you move Dickerson to right tackle. So that's the draft for the Bears. I know a lot of Bears fans want Rashad Bateman or something in the middle, or in the first round, sorry. But for me, O-line was more of a priority after seeing the injuries they went through last year and just how much they struggled to protect either quarterback they played. I think Nick Foles is still decent if you give him time in the pocket, but he's one of those quarterbacks that he can't make his own play. He needs a good O-line. I'm not denying that. When he has a good O-line, he can be a good quarterback like he was in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's always had a good O-line. That's where he's had his best seasons. He went to the Rams and tried to resurrect that franchise. They had a terrible O-line. He went to the Jags and tried to resurrect that franchise, who had a good defense but no quarterback. But that O-line wasn't great. He went to the Bears, and they were all hurt last year. So, if you end up going with Nick Foles at some point, and Dalton gets hurt, and Nick Foles is your guy, I know I drafted Jamie Newman. I'll get to that in a second. But I think Nick Foles, if he were to get any playing time, you need to build a good O-line around him. That's priority. Same with any quarterback, but particularly Nick Foles, guys who can't create with their legs, a good O-line is so important to their success. Because they can't create their own play. They have to rely on their offensive linemen to give them enough time to go through their progressions. Same with Andy Dalton. They're going to need time. If you want to have a successful offense, it's not going to come from your receivers if you're the Bears. It's going to come from your O-line, giving your quarterbacks time to read the field. That's why I like Dickerson in round 1 instead of Bateman. And then you go receiver in Diami Brown. I think he's not bad value in round 2. And was the best receiver available for the Bears at this point. I think Dwayne Eskridge has a lot of potential. He's just not a scheme fit with Darnell Mooney already. Same with Nico Collins. I didn't know if they plan on keeping Allen Robinson yet. So Diami Brown's kind of an in-the-middle guy, slot, outside, can play all over. 6'1", runs a 4.4. If I'm thinking of the right guy. I might be thinking of the other North Carolina receiver, and if I am, I'm sorry. But I think he runs a 4.4. And then Hamza Nasirildeen. Him and Patty Fisher seem like classic Bears defenders. Just hard-nosed, physical guys at their positions. I don't know if I'm associating the Bears wrong, but I feel like they've always been known for their hard-nosed defense. They play hard, they play fast. These guys, 2 guys, are good scheme fits, and you need linebacker depth. And then this could be your starting safety. Deion Bush, I don't know if they plan on him being a starter. I don't know if he was a starter last year. I don't know if he was good last year. I believe they had... No, they didn't. That was the year before. They had Clint Nix. But, just Nasir-Dean, I like him. I think in round 3, that's good value, and he's a great scheme fit. Now, I did want Shakira Brown at this pick, and we almost got him like 204, and that would have been great because we got Newman and Shakira Brown. But unfortunately, we end up with not unfortunately. I think Wild Goose is a good player, but we get Newman, who I liked at Wake Forest in 2019, didn't play in 2020. The potential's there. He's a top recruit. You just haven't seen enough college game tape of him, and that's an issue. I mean, as with any sport, if you don't have enough tape on someone, you're not going to be high in them. Like, I don't know if this is a good example, but I know LaMelo Ball didn't play college, so people were not as high on him because he didn't have tape against, like, other players in the draft. I don't know if that's a good comparison, but just sitting out a year for COVID and then playing at Wake Forest in 2019, you don't know what you're getting with Jamie Newman. And I like his potential. The top recruit went to Georgia. Obviously, they believed in him. He was going to transfer there and be their starting quarterback. I'm kind of on a rant here because I'm trying to justify it, but I think Newman has potential to be great for the Bears. Like, as a developmental guy, I don't think he's your franchise guy for the next 15 years. I think he could be a bridge guy for the next 4 or 5 years till his contract's done, and then you draft again if need be. Or if he develops into that guy, you can use him as that guy. Rashad Wild Goose and Lenore, I'm going to just go on together. Both nickel corners, both with just depth responsibilities as far as I'm concerned so far. They could start in the nickel, but as of right now when I drafted them, I expect them to be depth corners just because they don't have much depth at corner. Same with Patty Fisher, just a run stuffer, downhill linebacker, going to come in on first down maybe sometimes. Give Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan a down off just in like running situations so that they're fresh on passing downs. And then Patrick Johnson, edge rusher, 3-4 edge rusher. Robert Quinn's not getting any younger. Khalil Mack's not getting any younger. Get just some depth there. You don't really have any at all. But that's going to do it for this Bears mock draft. This one should be coming up around 6 Eastern. If you haven't checked out any other mock drafts on the channel, make sure you do. There will be one going up before this the same day, the 13th. And that will be at like around 1 o'clock. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I appreciate you guys watching, and peace.